sold on the Steelers either. And I think what's going to be different this year, Skip, is that the top seed, only one seed gets to bye this week. But it's different because they're not going to be a whole lot. They're not going to be any fans. So you fighting for Arrowhead is not going to have 78,000 screaming fans. And Heinz Field or whatever the case may be. Now, obviously, it varies state to state. Some places you might go, it might be 500 fans. Some place you go, it might be 14,000 fans. Yep. But the home field advantage you would normally get and what you play for is not going to bring you the value that it once did. So for me, Skip, when I look at the Steelers, the thing that concerns me is their consistency to run the football. I think Big Ben, I know what he is. I know what I'm going to get with Big Ben. The receivers, multi-talented. They're young, but they're very, very talented. Offensive line is solid. Defense, extraordinary. I still believe Kansas City is the better team. I believe, even though they just beat Baltimore, if they play them again, do I believe Lamar would turn the ball over 4 times? No. I don't believe that, Skip. They should have won that game. Give Steelers credit. They made the plays they needed to win.
Another shot on Thanksgiving night.
They made the plays they needed to make. They won the game. When I look at, and I think the only reason he's saying this about Tampa might have the most complete team because everybody else in the NFC that's somewhat good, Skip, it is really flawed. You look at the Seahawks, that's what I want. Seahawks offense is equally as explosive, if not more so than Tampa. But Skip, their defense. Skip, you can't give up 460 and 28 points a game and think you're going to go far in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. Because if your offense, see, the thing is, when you get to the playoffs, Skip, you got to be balanced enough. If that one side of the ball struggles, the other side can pull you through. I'm not so sure that if the offense struggles, that the Seattle's defense, even though led by the great Bobby Wagner, will be enough to pull them through. So that's my concern with them. I still haven't seen. I know Drew is putting up some good numbers, Skip, but he still hasn't looked the same to me. It seems like everything is a struggle to push the ball down the field. And so I know everybody's hopping on this Tampa because it's a great story, Skip. It really is. You know, it's about stories. But let me tell you about your guy. Now, y'all at home, y'all know this. The stat that Skip Bayless used to hang his hat on, his old, you know, he came out here, what Snoop call you? What Snoop nickname gave you?
Drip?
Drip Bayless. Yeah, you know
he didn't give me that.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Drip Bayless, how you come out here with your hat? That hat that you hang up was QBR. Skip Bayless, he swore by QBR. He said that's how you measure quarterback. Your guy is 14th in QBR. Guess who was in front of him, Skip? Baker Mayfield. Can I interest you in Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, Baker's had a pretty good year, all told.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, he has.
Don't do that. Don't do that. He had a couple of good games, but he had no good year. What about Derek Carr? Justin Herbert.
Wait a second. Derek Carr outplayed Patrick Mahomes at his home? That guy, 40-32 Raiders?
What about Justin?
Really?
What about Justin Herbert? What about Justin Herbert?
What about him?
He has a higher QBR than Tom Brady.
Yep. He was ahead 24-7 at Tom Brady. And then what happened? Tom Brady happened.
And his QBR, even that happened.
Comeback king happened.
Skip, I get it. It's a great story. I believe Tampa is probably more of the complete team. But the only reason they're saying that is because what's in the NFC. If Tampa was in the AFC and possibly had to go through my homeboy, had to go through the Steelers, or the Ravens, we might be having a different discussion.
But they're not.
Because they're in the NFC.
You play who you have to play.
I believe they potentially have an easier path. It's not that the Steelers are so heavily, this greatly flawed team. It's that the road that they're going to probably have to travel is filled with more minds than what Tampa would have to face.
Okay. So, somebody on this show, way back when, way before the season started, as soon as Tom Brady turned it into Tampa Bay, somebody predicted that the Tampa Bay Succaneers, as they used to be known, would become the best team in the NFC and would get to the Super Bowl, which will be played in Tampa. First home team to ever play in a home field Super Bowl.
Correct.
Somebody said that on this show, and somebody across from him laughed.
Yeah, I did.
Just laughed.
I'm still laughing. It ain't happened yet.
Well, and somebody across from me just uttered the words, Tampa is the most complete team. Somebody said that.
They are.
And that somebody's in the Hall of Fame, so he really knows football.
They are the most complete team.
Most complete team. And he also said, the guy across from me said, everybody, I know everybody's hopping on that bandwagon. Well, it's because the bandwagon is rolling, and it's rolling over people like Aaron Rodgers, 38-10, and it's rolling over Derek Carr and the Raiders at Las Vegas.
All I know is I just saw the team that y'all play Sunday go to Chicago and do something you couldn't do. Drew Brees, remember what down it was.
Yep, he did, and they won in overtime.
What did you guys do?
Somebody across from me who's in the Hall of Fame just said, I don't know. I just don't trust Drew Brees. That's what you basically told me.
I just said he hasn't looked like the Drew Brees that I'm used to seeing.
Okay, so the analysis in question that we're debating right now was in Pro Football Focus, and the contention was simply that Pittsburgh has the ingredients to be the best team in football because they have vaulted to the top of every power rating this week. Across the book, go look for one, ESPN, USA Today, wherever you want to look. Peter King, Pittsburgh has vaulted to number one, and they have earned that right because they are playing at that high of a level. But if you look harder at what happened Sunday at Baltimore, you say, time out. Because, as the analysis points out, at Baltimore, the home team had 450 total yards to 221 for Big Ben's offense.
Doubled them up.
Really? 79 plays to only 50 plays for the visiting team. How about third down conversions? Lamar went 8 of 15 on third down, and Ben went 3 of 9. What happened? 265 yards rushing for the home team and only 48 for only 48 yards? What happened? Well, you know what happened. The real score was 4-1.
Right.
4 Lamar turnovers to only 1 for Ben Roethlisberger, right? And somehow, even though it went down to the last throw of the game, Lamar's throwing into his end zone, right?
Yep.
It's a little Snead. And if it somehow gets through like 6 hands, because there are 3 DBs all over him, if it gets through, you win.
Right.
But you didn't win.
Right.
And so now we await the rematch on Thanksgiving night.
Right.
But the point is it possible Pittsburgh's a little overrated or at least a little vulnerable? Because now you look at yards gained this year, total yards gained for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They rank 25th in football in yards gained. Well, that's not very good.
That's not very good.
Right?
But I think that a lot of that has to do with, Skip, is that their defense is taking the ball away, putting them on short fields.
Okay, you could argue that the defense is the whole show here because in points scored, they're high. They're in top 10. I forget what it was, but the defense is scoring a lot of points for them. Okay, so now you play them off the Buccaneers and you say, well, Brady has them at 4th in points scored.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that'll work. So, again, Tampa's defense is ranked by Pro Football Focus just 1 notch below the Steelers. So they are 1st and 2nd in defense.
Right.
Okay, so you just gave in. You just acknowledged the fact that the Buccaneers are the more complete team because they got the 4th best offense and the 2nd best defense, while Pittsburgh's offense is a little shaky.
Yeah, but Skip, you look at their offense, they look like they're averaging about 29 points a game, which will win you a lot of games. But they've been in close ball games. They beat the Broncos 26-21.
Yeah.
Remember, they were dominating the Texans, and then all of a sudden the Texans had an opportunity to tie the game.
Okay.
So there are some concerns. The question is, can they establish the running game? Can they run the clock out? You know, Skip, 4 minutes, you got to lead. You need to run the ball. Can you do that with Connor and Snell? That remains to be seen. The Tampa believes that if they get in their 4-minute offense, they get the 2 tight ends, one wide receiver with Roe Jones and Fournette, they believe they can run the clock out.
All right.
They also believe that if they're behind with Brady, now with AB, they can come back. There's no margin, there's no deficit that they can't overcome.
Okay, so while you are questioning Drew Brees' arm strength at age 41 going on 42, the more I watch Ben, I still enjoy watching him operate because he goes backyard Ben.
Right.
I don't see the cannon he used to have because he's coming off the surgery on his elbow.
Right.
And they're not throwing home runs anymore like they used to.
It's all about getting the ball out quick, Skip, and letting guys make plays. Because he has some guys that can make you miss.
He does.
And get the ball into the end zone. Because all of them look like they, like, at some point in time with punt returners, you get the ball to those guys in space.
Okay, so here's the final contrast. I've told you all year long, since game number 1, Tom Brady has led the league, according to Pro Football Focus, in what they call big-time throws, 20-plus yard completions. Guess who brings up the rear in that category? Who has the fewest? Big Ben. So Tom Brady has the most. Ben has the fewest big-time throws.
Right.
Well, there you go. So who's built to go farther in the postseason? I think the what used to be called Succaneers.
Was